70 million years ago, dinosaurs ruled the world. Tyrannosaurus rex, Triceratops. They fought battles to the death. This was the story in North America. In the same period, Japan had been an unknown area for dinosaur research until recently.
恐竜の研究しては間違いないですけども、歴史的な発見。
The discovery was this. A nearly complete fossilized skeleton of an 8-meter-long dinosaur. It's a once-in-a-century find, rare, even by international standards. Scientists named it after the town where it was discovered, Mukawa, and nicknamed it Mukawa-ryu.
The skeleton of Mukawa-ryu is a terrific discovery.
The most exciting discoveries in Japan is the new hadrosaur that came from Hibetsu.
What did the dinosaur look like, and how did it live? Researchers recreated Mukawa-ryu using the latest imaging technology. The Mukawa-ryu belongs to a group of plant-eating duck-billed dinosaurs called hadrosaurs. This dinosaur represents an important key to Japanese dinosaur research.
The Mukawa-ryu opened the door on the world of dinosaurs in Japan, which had been a blank space. A new field of dinosaurs unknown to everyone is emerging.
This huge discovery was achieved following a 14-year-long period of trial and error. NHK cameras closely followed this drama step by step for a number of years. This is the team that made the discovery of a lifetime, the resurrection of this great dinosaur. Come witness the amazing adventure story of the Mukawa-ryu.
Mr. Yashima, it's a great discovery.
It's great!
This giant dinosaur, Mukawa-ryu, was unveiled recently. It's such an enormous dinosaur. So for everyone to really get an idea of the true scale and size of this creature, we decided to build this model. Here it is.
It's really surprising. It's massive. And when you actually see it, it's also unexpectedly complex. How exciting. This is the panel model of the actual dinosaur. They give even more of a sense of the power it possessed when it roamed the earth. Look at how thick this bone is.
This is the actual scale.
Look how high the tail is. One blow and I'd be dead. If they found just one tooth, that would be quite a big discovery in Japan. But they found the entire dinosaur. That's why this is getting such international attention.
Discovering the nearly complete fossilized skeleton of this huge dinosaur is a first in Japan. And it's very rare, even around the world. So what exactly makes this discovery so great? First, let's take a look at this.
March 29, 2017. A special day has dawned for the town of Mukawa in Hokkaido, northern Japan. On this day, the fossilized remains are going to be put together for the first time, and the dinosaur recreated. Yoshitsugu Kobayashi will direct the work. He's the leading authority on dinosaur research in Japan, and he's led the excavation. What kind of dinosaur will emerge?
肩があって腰があって足があっていいと思います。これが多分ディスタレントなんです。
From the shape of the bones, they can determine which part of the body they belong to. They carefully arrange the pieces, one by one.
でもこれ違うもんね。あれ？だよね。ほら。ありますね。じゃあ売るの？これ。確か。いや。これはでかい。大丈夫？持って。はい、大丈夫です。
The big pieces can weigh more than 10 kilograms. It takes them about 4 hours to put the puzzle together. The last part is the head.
はい、できました。やったー。完璧だ。やりましたね。
I had always hoped something like this would be found in Japan, but honestly, the skeleton is more than what I had imagined. This is the first time that such a big dinosaur has been so completely pieced together in Japan.
The news about the Mukawaryu raced throughout Japan in a flash. The foreign press also reported on the discovery. What surprised experts the most was that enough bones to map out the entire body were found. Haruo Saigusa is known for his research into the dinosaur called Tambaryu, a member of a gigantic dinosaur called sauropods. The Tambaryu he excavated is considered one of the greatest discoveries of fossilized bones in Japan. But even that was under 30% of the entire body.
You may think that less than 30% is small, but that is a lot in Japan. A complete skeleton like this Mukawaryu is very hard to find.
Why is it so rare? For example, the dead body of a dinosaur would have been quickly scavenged by a carnivore. The bones were usually broken into pieces and scattered before they fossilized. For the whole body to be fossilized, it would need to be buried almost right away. If the corpse had been buried, the entire body could have fossilized in due time, but that alone is only one part of the equation. Some crustal movements would be required to bring the skeleton toward the surface again. However, that brings other risks. Wind and rain can erode exposed bones. Moreover, Japan has a lot of forests which cover outcrops, meaning finding fossils is very hard work. Because of all those conditions, almost all of the dinosaur fossils discovered in Japan have been only parts of a skeleton.
The complete skeleton of the Mukawaryu is a terrific discovery. Very probably, with this discovery, research using dinosaur fossils uncovered in Japan will be elevated to a higher level. I think such research will now be possible.
Researchers worldwide are also paying attention. Philip Curry, a widely known paleontologist, is one of them.
Hadrosaurs, of course, are animals that were pretty much universal across the northern hemisphere, but we don't know how closely related they are to the ones of North America. And we're very curious as to what we can learn about the anatomy, the relationships, and how the dinosaurs, in fact, were moving from one region to another.
What kind of dinosaur was the Mukawaryu? With the support of Kobayashi, the leader of the excavation project, we set about to recreate this ancient creature. With the entire skeleton as the base, its flesh is added. But rebuilding its body was not the only challenge in resurrecting the Mukawaryu. What kind of daily life did the Mukawaryu lead? We looked for clues in the fossilized remains. This is one of the Mukawaryu's teeth. The colored area represents the surface that chewed food, which is flat. We compared it with the sharpened teeth of the meat-eating Tyrannosaurus. The difference is clear. Mukawaryu was an herbivorous dinosaur. The proportions of the body shape also drew attention. The hind legs are much better developed than the forelegs. How did the Mukawaryu use its legs? Let's visit the Mukawaryu's world, 72 million years ago. This is what the Mukawaryu may have looked like. They're huge, more than 8 meters long. Researchers believe they lived in large herds like this. The reason for this is again found, or rather not found in the fossils. That is, no special weapons such as horns were discovered. Kobayashi believes that Mukawaryu instead formed these large herds to protect themselves from predators. However, securing enough food for such a large herd was a serious problem. That's what helped push the evolution of the unique structure of this dinosaur. The Mukawaryu had hundreds of these teeth. They were able to thoroughly crush and chew plants, allowing the dinosaur to absorb enough nutrients. In addition, the herd had to keep moving to find food. They couldn't afford to overlook vegetation growing at higher places. That's when the Mukawaryu's long hind legs came in handy. The world of dinosaurs in Japan had been shrouded in mystery. The Mukawaryu has, for the first time, given us a glimpse of that world.
That was great. The CGI revealed to us how they lived. That was amazing.
It seems they lived in herds. Well, now we have one of the leading players in the discovery of the Mukawaryu. This is Professor Yoshitsugu Kobayashi.
Great to have you here.
It was a great discovery.
Thank you very much.
Today, Professor Kobayashi has brought a valuable fossil of the Mukawaryu for us here in the studio.
Here it is, right here. Can I touch it?
Yes, go ahead.
A modern man going to touch a bone from 70 million years ago. Here I go. Wow. It feels denser than I thought it would.
Yes, it feels like a rock.
What part of the body is this?
Well, it's actually from the skull. How should I explain? The one right here. It's the bone from the back of the head at the corner.
Now I'm the one being analyzed. A bone from the skull.
A little different. Without the entire skeleton, is it difficult to recreate it in CGI?
Dinosaur fossils have been found all around Japan, but they've just been one tooth or several bones. In many cases, we had to refer to dinosaur skeletons found overseas, but in this case, we were very lucky to find many pieces of the skeleton. We were able to work out the Mukaryu's actual form from these fossils.
So the Mukaryu has provided us with exact information about itself?
That's right.
You said that this discovery has essentially filled in the blank area. What exactly do you mean?
When we talk about dinosaurs, everyone knows about the Tyrannosaurus or Triceratops, for example. We imagine the dinosaurs in North America. But during the same period as the T-Rex, not much is known about dinosaurs that lived along the coast of Asia. That was the blank area. That's why we can say the discovery of the skeleton of the Mukawaryu was really such a wonderful thing.
And of course, we should definitely point out here that this epoch-making discovery of the Mukawaryu wasn't something that happened overnight.
I see.
Mr. Yashima, in fact, the first fossil discovered was only part of the skeleton.
Is that so?
That's right.
But you're always talking about the whole skeleton.
Yes, the first part discovered was the tail.
That's why you've been carrying around that pole.
That's right. The part of the tail they found is around here.
Up to there.
Actually, we should note that they discovered the tail 14 years ago.
14 years ago?
That's how much time has passed. So during that period, what kind of drama happened? Let's take a look.
First, we're going to meet the two people who made the initial discovery. Yoshiyuki Horita is known as an aficionado of fossils. He has thousands of them, particularly of ammonites and other marine animals. Then there's Kazuhiko Sakurai. He's a curator at a local museum. Horita and Sakurai were the ones who came across the Mukawaryu's tail one spring day. We asked them to reenact the scene at that time. However,
この服ならダメだもん。ジャンバー着ないとダメだ。あ、そうですか。じゃあ当時の格好でちょっと。
Horita changed into some of the clothes he wore at the time. It was April 2003. Horita was taking one of his daily walks in the hills to recover his strength because he had been in the hospital for a long time. Something caught his attention. A fossil lover like him couldn't pass this up, so he started to climb the hill. Then he found what looked like a fossil.
ちょっと変わってる骨だし、いや博物館の桜井さんにやるかなと思ってね。
Sakurai got Horita's message and soon came to the scene. This is the photograph of the fossil. They were enthralled by what they saw. The black area is the fossil, with rocks surrounding it. The two carefully searched the area and found several rocks with the same kind of fossils. It was the first time dinosaur fossils had been found in the town of Mukawa. But Sakurai did something unexpected. He took the fossils back to the museum. Then, he put them away in the storeroom. Back in the dinosaur age, the geographical situation of the town was different from today. Hokkaido, where the town is located, is east of the Eurasian continent. But 72 million years ago, there was no Hokkaido. There was only the continent. The present location of the town was at the bottom of the sea off the continental coast. It was at least 10 kilometers from land. Evidence of this is displayed at the museum. It's a large marine reptile called a plesiosaur. It looks like a dinosaur, but it's not. You can see its paddle-like limbs.
I believe that the fossils I got from Horita were plesiosaur fossils. Since we have many of those specimens, I stored them away.
As a result, the dinosaur fossils were left there for 7 years. Horita had been greatly looking forward to the appraisal of the fossils he had found.
どうして桜井さん研究しなんだって内心思ってたんだよ俺。でそのうちに俺忘れちゃったもんな。
Enter a woman who will make the breakthrough in this story. Tamaki Sato of Tokyo Gakugei University is one of the world's top experts on plesiosaurs. She always visits museums around Japan, looking at what's stored away in the back rooms.
I'm always searching for forgotten treasures. Sometimes in the collections gathered years ago are specimens left abandoned because their value wasn't known. These storerooms are part of my fieldwork.
Plesiosaur fossils, which aren't as popular as dinosaur fossils, could be lying neglected in storeroom drawers. On the hunt for such specimens, Sato went to museums when time permitted to comb through their holdings. That's how, in 2010, Sato visited the Hobetsu Museum. Receiving her was Kazuhiko Sakurai. He had laid out the still unstudied fossils for Sato. Mixed among them was the fossil found in Mukawa. It's something that didn't escape Sato's attention.
I thought it was a quite unusual species of plesiosaur. That's why I felt I had happened on a real treasure.
As she started cleaning the fossil, she noticed something.
As I looked closer, the shape was different than what I'd expected. Something didn't sit right.
A peculiar feature that shouldn't appear in a plesiosaur emerged from the fossil. It was a bone shape called a hemolarch, which was located in a tail. The shape would have to be like this if it had been a plesiosaur. But it was actually in a V shape. This wasn't a characteristic of a plesiosaur, but a feature of a dinosaur that lived on land.
That wasn't what I hoped for. For someone studying plesiosaurs, it was a letdown.
Sato decided to tell Sakurai about her find. Even now, Sato cannot forget his reaction when she told him. The two agreed to reenact the scene.
血動球の形から考えると、この化石は首長竜じゃなくて恐竜だと思います。
A fist pump?
ごめんなさい、笑っちゃった。ごめんなさい、笑っちゃった。
Well, he gave it a try.
I think he knew I was disappointed. He's so kind. It was a really restrained fist pump.
I just remember that my mind went blank.
He could have seemed a little happier, but he didn't show it at all. I, of course, knew that the discovery of a dinosaur would be big news. I was really happy I uncovered the specimen.
The story of great discovery continues. They quickly prepared the remaining fossils, and when they put them together, they got a 1-meter-long tail of a dinosaur. Sakurai requested an immediate appraisal of the dinosaur tail by an expert at Hokkaido University. That was Yoshitsugu Kobayashi. Kobayashi was stunned by the photographs of the fossils.
I knew right away it was a dinosaur. The fossils were in such good condition, I had to see them with my own eyes. I immediately sent a message asking if I could visit him the next day.
Kobayashi rushed to the museum. When he got there, he asked a question. Where's the rest of the body? The body connected to this tail should be somewhere, he insisted. That question was a big turning point. The discovery could have ended with the uncovering of the tail. Instead, it was the springboard that led to the giant leap to a great discovery.
Just finding that tail alone would have been considered a huge discovery. But you asked, where's the rest of it?
How did Sakurai and the others react?
It was like, what is this guy talking about? Their first reaction was that they had excavated deeply and found everything. There wasn't anything else.
So it was like, we've done everything we should have at this excavation site?
Yes.
I see. In that case, Sakurai should have given a fist bump like this.
That's right.
They had no idea then.
But you thought there was more.
All of the bones of the dinosaur's tail were discovered from rocks deposited at the bottom of the ocean. It was said to be a location 10 kilometers away from the coast. So, based upon that, I thought the entire skeleton had probably been left buried somewhere.
The studio turned blue when you started talking about the sea.
Yes.
Oh, goodness. I think I'm turning blue because I still don't get it.
Okay.
Why were the dinosaur remains able to go 10 kilometers from the coast in the first place? How did it end up there? And why was the entire skeleton left there?
We'll explain over here. We've prepared the bone of a cow's foreleg. Since the tail does not have much meat on it, you can think of it as almost like a bone. So we're going to use this bone as an example. And now, we're going to put this in seawater. What do you think would happen?
Seawater has more buoyancy than ordinary water. Let's put it in.
Please.
Here goes.
Go ahead.
What? That was fast.
This was, in fact, the key to the prediction by Kobayashi.
The tail sank. But does that mean that if the entire body didn't sink, it went further off the coast?
May 2012. Kobayashi and his team head for the spot where the tail was discovered. But why did Kobayashi believe that the entire skeleton could still be there?
Any animal is going to release gas when it is decaying. Gas accumulates in the stomach, which acts like a float. I presume that the body floated through the water and was carried offshore, farther away from the coast.
If there was only a tail, it wouldn't have floated 10 kilometers from the coast. But if there was an entire body, it could have floated and traveled the entire distance. In other words, Kobayashi believed that the entire body had floated to this point. In order to verify his theory, Kobayashi began to investigate. Would the entire skeleton still be there? Kobayashi believed that he would soon find out. He was looking for the bones connected to the tail. The problem was the size of the bones. The tail bones that had been discovered were 8.5 centimeters on the torso side and 6.5 centimeters on the tail end side. If the next bones he found were smaller than 6.5 centimeters in diameter, the rest would be the tip of the tail. That would be the end of the story. But if he found bones bigger than 8.5 centimeters, there was a high possibility that what followed could be the rest of the body.
今の状態では何も言えない。まだ本当50-50ですね。チャンスです。
2 hours after he began his dig,
茶色だな。出た。骨だ。骨だ。骨だ。俺こっちから見て。あ、よかったよかった。やったね。やったね。
the diameter was 9 centimeters. After his first sighting, Kobayashi pulled back his face and again looked more closely.
I noticed it was the backbone, so I pulled back and then looked at the size. It was big, so I thought, I did it. That's why I took a second look. I wasn't just looking at the tail.
They were certain that the entire skeleton was here. Persuaded by Kobayashi and his team, the town of Mukawa decided to allot some 600,000 US dollars to the excavation project. Soon, just as Kobayashi had predicted, they found fossilized bones of the body, one after another. More bones from the tail. On this day, they made another big discovery.
大腿骨。そうすると大腿骨。ああ。
They found a femur, or a thigh bone. It is roughly 1 meter long. They kept finding more and more fossils, a huge number of them. How big would this dinosaur be? The team's expectations continued to grow. After that, they started the process of cleaning the fossils. They carefully scribed away the stone around the area to extract fossils. Then, in the fall of 2014, a fossil that Kobayashi had been hoping for appeared.
まだちょっと時間かかってるみたいですね。頭です。頭です。頭。うん。ああ、よかった。
What they discovered was part of the jaw. They had finally found the head, the most important part.
やった。
Then came the big day. It was a priceless moment for the people involved in the discovery.
お釣りしますかどこにするかって話腕に
I'm really happy that the whole skeleton has been put together like this.
I'm surprised. I never thought the head would be there. It's amazing that a skeleton like this exists in Japan.
And we can't forget this man.
はいどうぞ
すごい。すごいな。大体の格好になってるんですよ。
Yoshiyuki Horita, who first discovered the Mukawaryu.
それが始まりですこれだけのことからそれが始まりですこんなことになっちゃうんだからなすごいですよねだけどこんなやつ昔ドカッドカって歩ってるのを想像したらさ歩いてたんですよこれが夢ある時間ロマンある、はい、これ本当にそうだわ
It took 14 years after the first bone was found. Like connecting the bones themselves, so many people joined their ideas to bring back the Mukawaryu.
Superb, Professor Kobayashi. Brilliant reasoning and detective work.
Were you ever worried there would be no entire skeleton?
I would always say in front of everyone that we'd find the whole skeleton. But in the back of my mind, I definitely knew it was possible that we may not find everything. We just didn't have 100% positive proof.
What percent did you actually think you'd find?
I'd say about 70%. When we were excavating, I was always worried about 30% wouldn't be found.
The locals will be very surprised to hear that. They're saying, what? He was expecting only 70%? I guess at the time you had to build momentum for everyone.
Now you're at the critical point of research?
Actually, the preparation process is still not completed. There are several places where the bones are missing. We are right in the midst of this work and making the skeleton increasingly more complete.
So these areas will be filled in?
Yes, eventually they will.
What part of the skeleton do you want to fill in most?
The head. We've made the general shape of the head, but there are still many pieces not filled in. Once we begin adding those parts, the actual figure of the dinosaur will emerge right in front of us.
It's a known fact that members of the same family as the Mukawaryu had various head shapes. Please take a look at these. This is a Saurolophus, and this is a Parasaurolophus. Both were in the same family as the Mukawaryu.
Looking at these two dinosaurs, I noticed they both have this distinguishing feature. These are crested heads.
They stick out.
No skeleton for this part has appeared yet. We're cleaning the fossils to get the answer now.
You mean it's possible that the shape could be completely different?
Yes, or maybe no crest at all.
So what you're saying is that it might have had a round head? And basically, the more you clean, the more you might be surprised by what you find.
The crests come in various shapes and sizes according to the dinosaur. In the case of the Parasaurolophus, we believe the crest had the function of producing calls or sounds.
Mr. Yashima, are you interested in what kind of sound it produced?
Sure, of course.
We've recreated some sounds that it may have produced.
I guess the sound comes from this long shape. It's unexpectedly a low, bellowing sound.
Yes, it's very much a low tone. Probably the dinosaur sound was used for communication with others.
Where will the research go now? This is Tomohiro Nishimura, a curator at Hobetsu Museum. He recently discovered something very interesting surrounding the fossils. In this rock, you can see part of the Mukawaryu's foot. What caught Nishimura's attention were the black areas above.
These black areas we see here are fossils of vegetation, of wood from land.
That's fossilized wood?
Yes, the blackish part is wood. Therefore, it's possible the Mukawaryu and these wood fragments traveled together and ended up in the same place.
Normally, such wood fragments wouldn't be found in the seabed layer. From that, Nishimura formulated a bold hypothesis about the last moments of the Mukawaryu.
We assume the possibility that the Mukawaryu and this wood drifted out to sea together. In that case, perhaps the Mukawaryu and wood were swept out to sea by a big force, like a tsunami or a flood. Then they all sank to the seafloor.
The evidence for Nishimura's theory can be found from the tidal current near the beach. Along the coast, the tide flows out, and at the same time flows back in toward the coast. What would happen to the body of a dinosaur caught in that current? We conducted an experiment to recreate the flow of the sea current. We used this dinosaur model. It flowed out offshore at first, but then it again flowed back to the beach. In other words, normally, even if a dinosaur were swept out to sea, it would be carried back to the shore. But the Mukawaryu was discovered away from the coast. Moreover, a lot of wood debris floated out to sea with it.
I think the reason this dinosaur was carried so far out to sea was likely because of some river flooding, or there's a chance it could have been caught up in a tsunami.
If we can go further and determine whether it was a flood or a tsunami that swept away the dinosaur, that would be compelling. It would also be very significant.
Was it a flood, or was it a tsunami? In any event, it's believed that the Mukawaryu was killed in a great natural phenomenon of some kind. The Mukawaryu starts to float in the ocean. Many living creatures likely passed it by, but fortunately, none of them fed on the Mukawaryu. Then, after floating around 10 kilometers out to sea, the gas in its stomach dissipated. The Mukawaryu began to sink to the seabed floor in almost perfect condition. And then, after a time, it ended up buried in the seabed. Eons passed. The seafloor layer gradually rose through crustal deformations. The spot rose and became low mountains in the middle of Hokkaido. Eventually that day came. 72 million years later. The Mukawadyu appeared before the human eye for the first time ever.
That age from 72 million years ago is brought to life here by this dinosaur. This sort of connection to present day is truly miraculous. All around the world, people discover fossils thanks to a variety of miracles. I have come to realize that we can now see these pieces of history because of these.
The Mukawadyu was a great discovery. What value do you attach to it?
I truly think that this will open a new chapter in dinosaur research history here in Japan. The long-held idea that a complete skeleton of a dinosaur wouldn't be found in Japan has been shattered for good. Therefore, we hope that more discoveries like this could be made in the future.
When you think about it, a dinosaur, as in the case of the Mukawadyu, being swept out to sea by a natural phenomenon and then sinking to the bottom, should not necessarily be an isolated incident.
Keen observation.
The Mukawadyu lived in herds. And since this dinosaur ended up like that because of some great natural disaster, isn't it possible that there are many more Mukawadyus in that same location?
Let's go look for them.
Let's do it! I'd like to try. In fact, doing so would open up more possibilities.
Children who would like to spend more time studying and researching dinosaurs will now be able to have bigger dreams.
That's really true. These dreams and possibilities will keep getting bigger.
On this day, around 100 people gathered at the seaside in Wakayama Prefecture, southwestern Japan. They are here to search for dinosaur remains. Around 10 years ago, a fossilized tooth of a dinosaur was discovered here.
今日の目標は恐竜の化石を取ることです。恐竜見つけたらね、乗る頭の上に。
Today, the picture of the dinosaur period in Japan is becoming clearer. In Hyogo Prefecture, the remains of a carnivorous dinosaur, thought to be an ancestor of the Tyrannosaurus rex, were discovered. Also in Gunma, a curious fish-eating dinosaur was found. Plus, we can't forget the huge Tambadyu. And this time, a new member has been added, the Mukawadyu from Hokkaido. In the near future, will we find yet another dinosaur? We certainly will, as long as there are people in Japan who keep dreaming.